Hello there, my name's David Rintle. I head up the construction and engineering services at Clark's Legal, and we've got a panel of my colleagues together with Michelle Aga-Hussain from the Building Services Research Information Association together to address some issues on risk. So if I can then turn to my partner Stephen in the context of risks and specifically industry insolvency. What are the key signs, Stephen, that a business might be struggling financially?
Well, I think it's twofold. First, we consider what's happening on site. Is the job progressing as it should? Does it look like a well-managed project? Is it properly resourced? If it isn't, there may be reasons underlying that go to the strength of that party. Also, what's the level of communication with the contractor in question? Are they avoiding you? Even worse, are they inflating or inventing spurious claims to avoid payment? Also consider what's in the public domain. A company's house, is it up to date? Is what's on company's house make good reading? Are the accounts okay? Credit checks, county court judgments, those sorts of things. And also what's in the media. Are there any rumours about the company? Is there something untoward? It's important to stress that none of these points will be definitive in themselves, and parties will run into difficulties and get out of them. And you want to consider whether you should be standing behind those companies in their time of difficulty that will lead to a more valued client and customer in the future, or it's a scenario where you need to minimise your exposure against the risk of an ultimate insolvency.
And if I can follow up on your point on minimising exposure, what steps practically can the supply chain take under the contract to minimise risk of insolvency both up and downstream and their exposure to it?
Well, it's very important to start with the contract, because once an insolvency happens, then you're at the mercy of the process, and it's too late at that point to build any additional rights. So anything that, in practical terms, has to be done at the contract stage, and that might be, for example, building in the right to pursue some other party via a guarantee or security. It might be that you have a retention and title clause, whereby even though you've delivered goods to the site, you have the right to recover them if you haven't been paid. So it's something to definitely consider at the contract formation stage to see what particular risk you face and what you can build in to protect against those.
Okay, thank you. And then if you do find yourself in a dispute situation and being owed money from a company that's struggling financially, is it possible or advisable to take that company to court or to adjudication to recover the monies owed to you? Presumably the supply chain will be unsecured creditors.
Yeah, well, at the start of any claim, I'd always give full consideration to what's the prospect of enforcing a claim if successful, because the last thing you want to do is to throw good money after bad in getting a judgment on adjudication of war that can't be enforced. You have to consider what stage you are in the insolvency process. If the other party is yet to enter into liquidation or administration, there's no procedural bar to pursuing a claim. Again, you need to consider whether it's worthwhile. If the company has already entered liquidation or administration, you will either need the permission of the court or the consent of the insolvency practitioner managing the process to go ahead. But again, I think very carefully about bringing a claim in those circumstances, given the likely outcome for an unsecured creditor, which is all you will be even if the claim succeeds.
Thank you very much indeed.